What's up, guys? I'm SYROBE, and I think I just broke Elden Ring. Again. This video genuinely tops every other build from the DLC. Very tiny spoiler warning, I'm going to showcase my build against the beginning area bosses from the DLC at the start of this video, so that everyone can watch me destroy these early game bosses without getting major spoilers, basically just killing the Lion Dancer, Ralana, and the big flaming fire giant trash cans. Towards the end of this video, I'm going to show my world record Elden Ring DLC final boss fight kill, where I defeated the final boss of this DLC in around 13 seconds, a lightning fast record. Yes, that final boss, which I won't say who, so that we can keep out the major spoilers till the very end for anyone who wants to watch that. But yes, it's the one that everyone is complaining about, and I literally make that entire fight look like a joke. And I've already cleared it multiple times with 3 different builds. This is just by far the best one. Anyways, I'll be utilizing the new Lightning Perfume Bottles, as it can easily dish out over 30,000 damage in a single use of its Ash of War. Yes, it's that insane. It's basically a mini Ancient Dragon's Lightning Strike, but honestly way more consistent. I know as soon as I upload this video, you're gonna see everyone else start to use this weapon, because the damage you are seeing is beyond absurd, and I guarantee you all of the people who rated Elden Ring negative will all instantly change their minds as soon as they see my build. This build is relatively simple, and it involves a lot of new DLC items like the Lightning Perfume Bottle, the unique perfume Ash of War called Rolling Sparks, and the new Madness buff Talisman, which is actually a really underrated talisman. I'll break up this video into 4 different chapters. First, how the Lightning Bottle perfume works. Second, how the unique perfume Ash of War works. Third, all my stats and equipment. And lastly, at the very end, sectioned off from the rest of the video, I will show anyone who wants to see my current fastest world record final boss kill in 13 seconds. So be sure to drop a fat fucking like and a massive sub, because I'll be doing a YouTube live stream later today beating every single boss using only the Lightning Perfume Bottle. It should be obvious by now that the Lightning Perfume Bottle deals insane damage, and the reason for this is that the Perfume Bottle has multiple exploding hitboxes whenever you use it. The damage or effects of your Perfume Bottle can change depending on which one you choose, but I personally prefer Lightning. The weapon itself has some pretty unique movesets, as it's one of the newest weapon categories for the DLC that is unlike anything else. But unfortunately, most of the attacks for the perfume moveset spread out the perfume hitboxes in wide-ranging arcs. This means that you won't be able to easily land every single perfume bottle explosion. The best methods to utilize the perfume to its fullest in PvE is to use any attack that can cluster up the hitboxes and closely groups up all of the damage into a concentrated area. This will allow for better concentration of DPS, as the multiple hitboxes can explode in one place. For the Lightning Perfume Bottle, this new perfume weapon can be spammed as much as you like, but the real key factor to this build is the Rolling Sparks Ash of War. The Ash of War Rolling Sparks is a new and unique Ash of War that can only be applied to certain perfume weapons. This Ash of War normally just creates a bunch of explosions in a row, sending out your perfume immediately, and after a small delay, exploding them one by one. For video reference sake, I used a third-party program to discover that Ralana has 120 poise and 29,723 HP, as well as the Lion Dancer also having 120 poise with 22,571 HP. All of this tested on base new game scaling. After using this Ash of War, you can combo almost instantly into a light or heavy attack, so that you can get even more DPS between Ash of War cast times. The Rolling Sparks Ash of War damage becomes whatever damage type or affinity your perfume bottle is. So in this case, our Rolling Sparks Ash of War will deal lightning damage with our Lightning Perfume weapon. These rolling and exploding hitboxes can actually be grouped up quite easily. Should you cast your Rolling Sparks Ash of War directly downwards onto the floor, the hitboxes will explode instantly and on top of each other. Keep in mind, these are also multiple hitboxes exploding at the same time. Aiming at the floor allows you to condense their damage into a specific area, which is perfect for melting every boss in the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, and is by far one of the highest DPS weapons in the game. And here's all my stats and gear. My stat spread looks a little awkward, so let me explain. A Lightning Perfume Bottle at plus 25 only gains C tier attribute scaling for Dex and Faith stats. Lightning damage specifically scales really well with Dex, but it's nice that they also added faith scaling to offer this weapon more damage since the attribute scaling is only C tier, even at max level. So with around 50 dex and 50 faith, I gain over 500 base AR with this weapon, which isn't that much, but in the Land of Shadow, I have almost 1,200 base AR due to my Shadow Tree fragments. I've already beaten the DLC on base new game and reached the cap for my Shadow Tree blessing level, which for those who are unaware, goes up to a cap of 20 levels. Reaching the max Shadow Tree blessing level gives me more than twice my base damage from the original Lands Between. Our new damage number in the Land of Shadow scales even further with any sort of stacking buff. There are quite a few new buffs that I discovered synergize extremely well with this perfume weapon. Here is a long, short list of buffs that increase the damage of your lightning bottle perfume weapon. The Black Dumpling Hat, a new armor set known as the Rakshasa armor, and I know the Black Dumpling Hat is old, but the armor is brand new. It actually comes with a hidden passive that increases the damage you deal to enemies while you wear this armor, but it also increases the damage you take. For talisman, the best ones to use are the Aged One's Exultation, which actually functions just like the Kindred of Rot or Lord of Blood talisman, except this new Aged One's Exultation increases your damage when Madness procs nearby and stacks with the Black Dumpling Hat damage, which also gives you even more damage near Madness procs. I created a new synergy for these two items and the Halashriri, as all of their damage buffs stack and directly benefit from each other. Of course, we're using the Shard of Alexander since most of our damage comes straight from the unique Rolling Sparks perfume Ash of War and the Perfumer's Talisman, since that talisman increases our perfume damage by 20%. And I do also take the Lightning Scorpion talisman for as much lightning damage as possible. I'm sure everyone is already aware that this also makes you take more damage on top of our armor set that has a debuff and the Halashriri debuff, making us very squishy. But something that I noticed is that while you're in the Land of Shadow, even with all of these debuffs together, your defensive stats still remain pretty high. As you can see here, I am wearing absolutely no armor, and I have multiple defensive debuffs active, but I still maintain around 30 base physical damage negation and go upwards of 40 with just Golden Vow. And even with the armor set increased damage debuff, I'm still hitting 60 damage negation thanks to my Shadow Tree blessing level being maxed out. For comparison's sakes, this is the exact same build in Limgrave, which would have my defensive stats be this far into the negatives. So please take this as a PSA to get your Shadow Tree blessing levels all the way up to the max. Side note, don't use any boiling crab or shrimp with this build as it replaces and removes your damage buffs from our Halashriri incantation. For some other random testings in my finding, it seems like the Godfrey icon does not work with our Ash of War on our perfume, which would have been nice. But lastly, we have our spells. I used Golden Vow and Halashriri like I mentioned earlier, which is very necessary for our damage. Halashriri increases your damage by itself, but also builds up Madness in you. Once Madness procs in you, it stacks with both of our other Madness buffs that I mentioned earlier. So now that we have this new Madness buff talisman, we get even higher damage scaling from activating Madness on ourselves. Both the talisman, the Black Dumpling Hat, and the incantation increases our damage by an insane amount. And our damage ascends even further into the stratosphere with one sip of our physics. In our flask is the Lightning Shredding Crack tier, which is old but still effective. But there is a brand new tier, which is now my favorite, that was introduced specifically for the DLC and is known as the Bloodsucking Crack tier. From my testing, this Bloodsucking Crack tier raises your total damage by a bonus of 20%, and in exchange, it'll slowly drain your HP down and can even kill you if you aren't careful. This new tier grants an additional 20% damage buff that stacks on top of our Lightning tier, which is also a 20% damage buff. This allows our Lightning Perfume Ash of War to hit like a truck. I don't know about you, but this is the most satisfying build I've ever made, and I sincerely hope you all try it out, because when we combine everything that I've shown you so far, this is what allows me to deal over 30,000 damage in just a single use of our Ash of War. This is by far my favorite weapon in the DLC. But once again, I know larger channels are instantly gonna hop on this and make their own versions of this build as soon as I upload my video without mentioning me, so please be sure to leave a like on this video as it helps me out a ton, and I have plenty more exciting DLC builds planned soon. Thank you all for the support lately with my new DLC build and YouTube live streams, and for anyone who wants to avoid major spoilers, now is the best time to click off, because the last thing I'm going to show you is the current world record that I hold for the fastest Elden Ring final boss kill in just 13 seconds. As always, I've been SYROBE. Stay safe in the Land of Shadow, and I'll see you all in my next DLC build video. Peace.